on the Clinton email scandal, the Veep stakes, if you will, and the Obama-Clinton event preview. Hillary's numbers continue to fall. Trump is in the middle of this latest controversy over a tweet that supposedly they're calling anti-Semitic. It used the Star of David. They're saying it wasn't the Star of David. It was a star on Google Clip Art or something, like Microsoft Clip Art. Either way, I can't imagine that he would tweet out something that would be anti-Semitic. I'm sure it was just right. He said it was supposed to be looked like the guy who made it. He doesn't make these things. The guy who made it says it was supposed to look something like a sheriff's badge. But it looked like the Star of David. Okay, Christine, what do you think of that?
I think that Donald Trump needs to get his act together if he wants to go forward in this campaign. Because I was listening to, there was a media buzz with Howard Kurz over the weekend.
Yeah.
And, the talk now is really, I know you had mentioned it much earlier in the campaign, the talk is now really that he has no intention of winning the presidency, and that, more and more he's doing things that make it look like he's just a plant for the Clinton administration. And, I don't really believe that. I know many of his supporters don't really believe that. I don't think really seriously political analysts believe that. But, he's too far in the game now to be making such stupid mistakes. And, you can't have something that even looks questionable, a symbol that looks questionable, like it would even be somewhat racist. And, John Cena's thing, I know we were talking before the
well, that was really
break.
Targeted, really seemed to be targeted towards Trump, right?
Right, and John Cena is wrestling. That's a big source of support for Trump and company. And John Cena is going mainstream a little bit now. I know he's hosting the ESPY Awards, I think.
Yeah.
But for him to come out and say that was really a dig at Trump. And I really think that Trump can't afford the missteps at this point. So that was a really stupid mistake. I don't think anyone really believes that Trump is deep down in his heart racist, but I think that the things that he's doing are not helping his campaign at all.
Yeah, because they're diversions. I understand that's what probably Hillary Clinton's camp is looking for, a diversion. But diversions, it seems like every time he has an opportunity to go after Hillary or, the best he has is crooked Hillary, and then a stupid mistake, which all of a sudden becomes a distraction. And instead of hammering away at Hillary, he's defending what, I don't think it changes the people that support him. It doesn't change anything. Jim Zecca's still there. I can guarantee you that. But I think at the end of the day, you're right. It's just a major distraction.
And there's so much substance to Donald Trump. I mean, if anyone has read his books, I know everybody makes fun of that, but there is quite a bit of substance there. And I think we're just not getting to that, and that's unfortunate because of the fact that there are all these distractions, and he's the one who's allowing the distractions to happen.
Hey, you want to talk about an amazing? First of all, let's talk about a bit of the primary. Anybody surprised by? The polling came out, and then we find out it was we're talking about the congressional race between Assemblywoman Tenney, Wells, and George Phillips. Any surprise that Claudia Tenney had a big win? The only surprise was that polling before that was showing that it was really, really close. Turns out that polling was a robo poll where you get an automated message and you get to punch in 1, 2, or 3, depending on who you're voting for, which I don't feel those are overly accurate. And it certainly wasn't, because it wasn't close. Anybody surprised by that?
Well, the other thing was on that poll, it said 22% were still undecided. So maybe it was just a lot of late decision-making going on in favor. But I will say this. I know Claudia Tenney had the name recognition really across the district, had the advantage over the other two candidates. But she won convincingly in Oneida and Herkimer counties, which is interesting because the most criticism she gets is from this local area, but she won very big here.
Well, and it's a Republican primary with very low, and Herkimer County was terrible. The turnout was awful in Herkimer County. It was half the amount of people that voted in 2014. One would say that Hillary, Claudia's same gender. That's the only comparison you can make. Although that could be debatable. Claudia's support was there. There's just no doubt about it. Her people are are strong and excited and vigorous when it comes to getting that vote out. But I don't think that either Phillips or Wells, I mean, just if you can call it what it is, were candidates that anybody was really excited about. And it showed in turnout, and I just don't think anybody was excited about them.
Well,
and talk about whether or not people really want to win races. We've had them all in studio, and I think that Bill, this show has made it so that all of the candidates could really have an even platform. I know they've done other shows. I know that they did our sister station in Binghamton, but you're right, there was nothing really exciting about them. And even though Phillips is still technically in the race, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Is he what line is he on? I don't think so, because he was endorsed by the American Conservative Union, but Tenney had the endorsement of the Conservative Party.
Isn't one running as an independent candidate still?
I don't know, to be honest with
Martin
you.
Babinec is still.
Babinec is, and Babinec, by the way, beat Claudia Tenney in the Reform primary, so he'll be on the Reform Party line. I don't know how many votes, but it was a very small amount of votes. But it was to me, it was also interesting at all the negative advertising that was targeted at Claudia Tenney. I thought was so far off target and so unbelievable, trying to tie her to Cuomo and to tie Tenney. We talked about this before the primary, trying to tie her to Sheldon Silver and all of that corruption was just ridiculous. Nobody, to me, bought that. I had somebody say to me who just loathes Claudia Tenney, said before the primary, I actually feel sorry watching these spots. I'm actually feeling sorry for Claudia Tenney. And this person loathes her. But those commercials, just that barrage of commercials, it just was, I don't think it was accurate, and I don't think it was effective. In fact, it might have turned and worked in the other direction.
I think one of the factors was too is and you saw it with the most voter turnout in Oneida County, which is not saying much, but a lot of people I talk to say I'm not even really going to give Phillips or Wells a thought because they're living not in my district. So they live and represent areas outside of Oneida County, and a lot of people were firm on the fact that well Claudia's in our backyard. She's our hometown candidate, and I'm not gonna vote for anybody else.
Rob says the first presidential candidate to be interviewed by the FBI this weekend, and you're talking about a tweet from Donald Trump. Listen, I'm going to just turn gears because Rachel Sutherland's coming on in a second. We're going to talk about Clinton, the investigation, the emails, the controversy, and her sinking poll numbers. We'll get to all of that stuff. Christine is in Mississippi, spending her final days with us over the summer here in this month of July. We'll be chatting with her all morning long. And, of course, John Zogby, Tim Reed, lots to get to here on July 5th. Coming right back at WIBX.